So one of the things that you will all be very familiar with is the conflict of preservation and sustainability, but also driving engagement and visitation to these incredible spaces you're subsidising and providing for communities. So first of all, I'd like to ask, hands up, who likes a good surprise? So I'm assuming the rest of you are not into surprises at all, yeah? Okay, so to that end, let me explain to you what a surprise looks like from a visitor's perspective. So let's say you've organised a meeting of some friends in your local outdoor park. They've given you the name of it and you confidently enter the destination in your map app and you studiously follow Siri's instructions, only to find that Siri announces, "You have arrived," and you look around and you think, "No, I haven't. Where am I?" And that is what you call a nasty surprise, or the revealing of what's called a local secret. So, how can you use innovation to improve the visibility of your local secrets and create visitation of the places and spaces that you want to control? So we're going to talk about what you can do with different kinds of technology to do that. So I'm the third child of 4. I'm the girl of a farmer fighting for relevancy. So I thought I was on a winner when I told my father, who's a retired farmer, I was doing a project at Glen Innes. And what did he say? "Is there anything else there?" To which I did explain that they did have lots of local secrets and we were working with them to reveal them. So think about it in the context of you're on a family road trip. You're driving down the road, you're desperate to stop, kids are fighting in the back, you and your partner need a break, you need a coffee or a cigarette. But there's no, it's a desert land. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to see. You have no idea what's around you. But you spy a brown sign coming up and you think, "Oh, I'm absolutely saved. Tell everyone in the car, we've got a brown sign, let's go." And then the memory of your own childhood and how bad brown tourist signs can reveal terrible places. But upon closer examination, there is a QR code. We've leapt into the 20th century. And this QR code is a portal into your local secrets. It is a digital window into immersive, augmented reality stories about your local secrets. So you transform your destination from just a brown sign to something that might look like this. So this is indeed Glen Innes, and yes, they have many local secrets. Have many of you ever been to Glen Innes? So they're building a skywalk. So they're building a lookout where, you know, in the vernacular of our childhoods, it's a stone thing on the ground and it says London, 12,000 kilometres, Sydney, 2,000. They wanted to reveal their local secrets but engage and educate people about their local secrets. And to extend the interest, they're building a new brand around what's called a geopark. So all their local secrets are being categorised into abiotic, biotic, cultural and heritage. So if you want to learn about Indigenous or you want to learn about the geology and the forming of Gondwana, these little icons allow you to drill down into the local secrets by those kinds of categories. So all of a sudden, the people in your car can search and find amazing stories about what's available in your local outdoor areas, but also in your national parks and those kinds of places. So once you've got this visitation, as you will all often know, over-visitation or destination fatigue is real. There are many places that are now experiencing way too many visitors. The cost of servicing those visitors is very high, but also it is destroying the environment in which those people are going. And a good example of this is, name's just gone out of my head, the island off Perth, Rottnest Island. There are so many people in one particular area and it's destroying all their regenerative work. So what can you do to improve the engagement of what people are doing and using that engagement to influence and control where your visitors go and what you want them to learn about? It never ceases to surprise me how when you talk to our clients, as they say, where did the visitors come from, where are they going, and what do they like? And it's very difficult to control and influence what people do when they visit if you don't understand what they're interested in and where they're going. So back to Glen Innes. This is indeed the cattle yards, and the whole point of this is to introduce the concept of, well, you would be familiar with Google Analytics, yeah? So it's measuring what everyone does on your website. So imagine if you had the information of who's doing what, where and when, and for how long at your destination, be it a botanic gardens, a national park, or just a local government area. So you can see here the busy days of the month, how long they're spending in various places, and indeed where they're coming from. So what does all this data about where people are going and what they're doing actually do for you? Is it more data? Are you going to sit at an executive meeting and go, well, that's all very well, but I don't know what to do with it? It actually allows you to leverage the current success you have and control and influence where you push those people to. So I'm sure all of you have been to either Vivid in Sydney or the Sydney Opera House or somewhere where it has been rammed. It's horrible, it's crowded, there are too many people, and there's just no sense of, surprise, good or bad. So the idea is that as a manager of visitation, collecting that data allows you to see the wood for the trees. You can indeed see that this visitor is interested in this and that visitor is interested in this. So you can push them out by creating complementary experiences and get them to move away from your anchoring iconic experiences. So again, in the instance of Sydney, you're pushing them out of the CBD Circular Quay area, and you can push them down into Centennial Parklands. Just get them out of the CBD and reduce the cost of over-tourism or visitation in your area. So what does that look like from a practical sense? So Kings Park, Perth Botanic Gardens, an organisation many of you will be familiar with. They're a very old organisation. They have a lot of powerful vested stakeholders who are very clear on who their visitors are and where the money should be spent. So we built them a simple digital map which basically replaced their paper map and gave them this digital map. And the magic, even though it looks like a normal map, the magic is actually the bottom left. It's those boxes which are the categories that they've chosen to filter and allow visitors to choose what they're interested in. So it can be as simple as a family with children or I'm looking for food and drink. And they've used this to start collecting the visitation data of where people go and what they're doing, and then start developing the business case and the activations to push people out of the areas that are very crowded. So a really good example of this is when they first started, they were absolutely adamant their top visitor was a middle-aged planted, and the botanical gardens was the be-all and end-all, and no one should spend any money other than in that area. So guess what the data told them? Not that. It told them that their number one visitor was women with children. And guess where they're going? The Adventure Playground. And is there anything at the Adventure Playground which allows the Botanic Gardens, which is the anchor tenant if you like, to improve education education and learning of this generation sell more stuff like toys, movies, whatever. There is nothing else in that precinct that is allowing the organisation to amplify the success of these visitors. And they couldn't get any airtime at executive level because there was no data to prove what was in fact reality. Today, with the data of Rio Tinto Naturescape, shameless greenwashing, it is the #1 destination. So where do you think all the capex is being allocated now? It's all in resources and education around where those visitors are coming. So we've talked about how you can create digital assets to link your experiences to the physical in the digital world and increase the visitation. We've also shown how when you do that, that also allows you to collect the actual visitation data and understand how you can leverage and change your experiences for better outcomes. So things like a better customer service rating, or more importantly, a far better service fee of visitor service headcount. Finally, we're going to turn our minds to your internal organisation. So yes, you can do engagement and you can do visitation, but the consequences of not doing this third thing are devastating, and let me share why. It is incredibly easy to create a sustainable visitor economy. It's just that you have to, pardon the pun, put your visitor goggles on. So just like beer goggles changes your perception of the people in the pub, your visitor goggles give you the perception of your visitors. So when you do that, you put the visitors at the centre of your experience. So all of a sudden, you're changing the way your organisation thinks and allocates capital. So how does that work? So let me give you 2 examples of organisations which have done amazing activations but have not put their visitor goggles on. So the first organisation, they're in Queensland. They did this incredible accessibility and mobility project. They spent a lot of money. They got amazing increases in visitor experience scores. And they installed this Jushi accessible bus stop on the main street directly in front of the public toilet. The public toilet was no longer with line of sight. So what happened? The visitor centre got bogged down with a 30% increase in people coming in going, "Where's the toilet? Quick!" And also, they all of a sudden, to reduce the cost of all those visitors, they then had to go back to council executive, get an ad hoc capex project approved to redo the signage in front of the bus stop. So you can see that even though a project is successful, unless you put your beer goggles on when you're making that final capex approval, it can be very costly. The other example I'll give you is outside Sydney. They are what you call a highway bus bypass town. So they're no longer getting the drive-through visitors. You know, you've got to stop, pull off the freeway and go there. They did an incredibly successful series of activations, seasonally based, which increased the number of day visitors. So there were day trippers from Sydney. So what do you think is the #1 thing that people know about this place? You can't bloody go to the toilet in Berry. There's one 1960s toilet block. There are 4 loos, 2 for each biological sex, and it's terrible. You cannot go to the loo there. So, you know, is that what you want? Do you want to be spending lots of money and still getting a poor customer service experience score? But if you do all these things where you put the visitor at the centre and you use digital to improve the visibility and influence and control where you want your visitors to go, you do indeed create a thriving, sustainable economy. You reduce your visitor servicing cost per hectare and you increase your customer service rate. So for those of you who said they liked a surprise, we've got a surprise for you today. If you're interested in talking about any of these items or exploring any of the case studies, we're offering a free 45-minute workshop where you can talk about them, learn about the customers. If you want to talk to them, we can do that. There's a flyer, there's all sorts of flyers around, you can pick one up and book it. It's a learning experience and feel free to take advantage of it. Thank you.